Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the H&H Sports Podcast. I'm Tanner
We
Hicks,
have the
and
same color shirt on.
as we do, don't we? And as always, joined by my co-host Jackson Huey. Um, we're twinsies today. If you're watching on YouTube, um,
We've been on this call for an hour, and I just now noticed.
that's crazy. Um, week 5 already, man. It's freaking. Oh, we're talking about week 4, but this coming week is week 5. This happens every year. It flies by. Like the time, like the off season is always like the longest part of the year, always. But once the season comes up, it just flies by. I never understand it. I hate it. Week 5 of college football, week 4 of the NFL coming up this week. This past week was not a very eventful, just overall big picture, not a very eventful week of football. But there were some, pretty interesting games along the way. I know this is not like a huge game, but Virginia Tech getting throttled by West Virginia, I kind of, uh, I don't know. I don't want to say it shocked me, but it kind of like we should have saw it coming with Virginia Tech losing to Old Dominion in week 1, and then Boston College is bad. They beat them, but then they got throttled by West Virginia. I would have thought, the Marshall transfer, Grant Wells coming in, you know, this team won't be that bad. No, they suck. They're 2-2, but they're bad. They're probably one of the worst teams in the ACC right now. Like that team sucks. I just want to get that out of the way. Virginia Tech is a horrible football team. Now we had games this week like Georgia playing Kent State. Although Kent State put up 22 points and Oregon put up 3. I don't know how that's possible.
We saw more of that. We saw more of that Georgia offense struggling.
It's more of the Georgia defense.
I don't think it was
Struggling.
that.
I mean, yeah, Georgia couldn't take care of the ball against Kent State, but it was more of like their defense just couldn't get off the field, and it's like
I don't. Stetson Bennett didn't look as sharp as he did the first 3 weeks either.
you could point to maybe they're playing down to their competition. Maybe they didn't really want to get up for this game and be like, "Oh, we're playing Kent State," and they didn't have that fire and
At
energy.
11 o'clock.
Yeah, like bro, I can't really blame them, but it's Kent State. Like they beat them by 17, but there could be some concerns. I don't know. They're still the number 1 team in the country. Was Alabama killed Vanderbilt, the darling of college football. Ohio State murdered
Vanderbilt
Wisconsin. Vanderbilt did get 3 points. That was the highlight of their weekend. Not the 60 that we're accustomed to, but they got 3 points. Michigan beat Maryland. It was a bit of a. It was a. The
That
score.
was kind of surprising to see Maryland put up that fight.
Yeah, but like the score doesn't really tell the whole story. Like Michigan was in control that entire game, but the Maryland made the score look good at the end. And Blake Corum had 243 yards rushing. That's wild. But I say this week wasn't very eventful, but we get to the next 2 games. We got Clemson and Wake Forest, which was a wild game. The first quarter, Clemson goes up 14-0. We think the game's over. Oh, Clemson's back, and they're going to beat Wake Forest by 50. But, Sam Hartman in the offense wakes up, and, Wake Forest makes it a game. And we get to overtime, and, bro, that throw by Sam Hartman at the end on 4th down and double coverage, like, bro, I get it. The game's on the line. You're nervous. You may not make the best decision in the world, but you throw to the most covered player on the field. I don't understand it, but Wake did put up a good fight. They scored 45 points on a very good defense. Wake's going to be good this year. They're going to probably win another 10 games this year. They got another good test against Florida State this week. But Wake Forest is going to be fine after that loss. They didn't put up a good fight. I thought this was going to be like they're at home and they take it to overtime. No way Wake Forest doesn't pull this upset off. But, the better team won at the end. And you have anything to say about that game?
I think DJ looked better. Probably the
D-
best he's looked since he backed up Trevor Lawrence.
yeah,
I mean,
DJ did look really good this game.
So curious to see if he can continue that.
What did help is his receivers started catching the ball too. That
usually helps.
Yeah, that part of the reason why his completion percentage was so bad through the first 3 games or whatever is because it was mainly his receivers couldn't really hang on to the ball. And like most of those receivers are young. Like Joe Nagata is one I could think of who's a freshman, and I can't really think of any other ones because they're all so new. They do have another true freshman starting, but they're so young and they couldn't hold on to the ball. That's part of the reason why his completion percentage was as bad as it has been. But DJ looked better because his receiver looked better, and usually that correlates. So
not about 99% of the time.
Yeah. Kansas State, Oklahoma. At Norman, Oklahoma loses to Kansas State once again.
Yeah, that's 13 in 4 years.
Bro, I saw this tweet. I don't remember who it was from. But it said that Kansas State is one of those teams that'll win 8 or 9 games every year. But if you put them in the national championship, it'll be a hill game for whoever they play. they're just that kind of team. Like they're good for at least 8 or 9 wins every year, and they'll tough out these really hard games that they have, and then they're gonna lose to Kansas at some point this year. But who knows?
Kansas might be a really hard game.
I know Kansas is good this year. I don't know how they're not ranked. Come on now.
They're 26. They're 26.
Are they?
Yeah.
They're getting the most votes. That's cool. In my lifetime of watching.
That's what I heard. I haven't seen, but I heard they were 26.
They should be getting the most votes. Freaking Kansas, bro.
They should be in.
Like they're 4-0. They should be getting the most votes. Yeah, they're getting the most votes outside the top 25. And then Cincinnati and Florida after that. That is wild. Kansas good at football. First time since 2009 or 2008, I think. Either way.
We don't speak about Kansas 2008.
I meant in football.
Well, I mean, still same year.
But yeah, that's crazy. Both years they were good at sport. Anyhow, Arkansas, Texas A&M. I'm bugging talking about this wasn't a very eventful week. I mean, it's just compared to other weeks, like the start of this year has been crazy, and then this week was kind of like less crazy, and I'm like, oh, bad week.
Bro.
Arkansas
The field goal, bro.
Dude, I've never seen that in my life. I didn't even know that was possible. That you could hit the very top of the goalpost. Like, what?
And it would bounce straight up.
That's like a 1 in a million chance. I bet if he could go outside and kick and try to do that 100 more times, he wouldn't be able to do it. And then he just somehow does it in a game where it matters. Bro, that's wild. That is wild. It looked like in the first half, it looked like Arkansas just shouldn't even be there. Like,
how about? I forgot about this one. What about the KJ Jefferson fumble, and the Texas A&M dude picks it up and hands it to the other guy?
That was pretty.
And he runs it all the way in.
That was pretty. But for the first half and part of the third quarter, it didn't look like Arkansas should have been on A&M's level. It just looked like A&M was just far and away better, and then Arkansas, makes it a game in the fourth quarter. But A&M just doesn't lose to Arkansas. They just don't. Even when Arkansas is ranked 10,
and playing in Jerry's world.
Yeah, it's just A&M is looking like the A&M we thought they would. They thought they would be, and they're still only ranked 2020. They're still only in the.
Yeah, but the loss to Appalachian State doesn't help.
Yeah, Appalachian State with the loss this week that loss isn't looking very good anymore. But still, A&M's looking good. And I saw Devon Achane's out for the year, which is which is tough for A&M because I think that's their best offensive player. Another SEC game to talk about is Tennessee, Florida. Now, my Florida stock isn't looking the greatest at the moment. But both of their losses, both of the Florida's losses, those teams are in the top 10
teams.
So I'm not the dumbest person in the world right now for saying Florida. I predicted them to be 4-0, but I mean, like both of their losses are against top 10 teams. I mean, what do you want me to say?
By combined points or combined total of 14 points.
Like they're not like getting blown out by these teams. I mean, they had the ball on the last possession in the game against Tennessee, albeit it was like only a 20-second drive, but they had a chance to win the game against Tennessee in Knoxville, which is a crazy environment, by the way, and they only lose by not that many points against Kentucky.
10, I think it was.
Who is a top 10 team? Like Kentucky's a top 10 team in college football. That's wild.
Mark Stoops took what Calipari said to heart.
We're a basketball school. Goes and
Mark
gets
Stoops said, "I'll show him a basketball school."
Goes and gets like top 10 in football. But this moving on to the Pac-12, we're talking about Oregon and Washington State. Bro, what the transfer from what's his name? He transferred from like D2 or whatever, and this is Washington State's first loss of the season. I forgot his name. Cameron Ward. He's only a sophomore, and he's a transfer from what is this place? Incarnate Word. He's a transfer from Incarnate Word. It's like a D2 or D3 school. He's only a sophomore. He had 47 touchdowns last season, and he had Washington State to a 3-0 record, and they almost beat a top 15 team in Oregon at home. Washington State's going to be pretty decent this year with that guy under center. And Oregon against good teams besides BYU is looking pretty shaky. I can't trust Oregon right now, especially their especially their offense. Their offense hasn't been the problem. I don't know. Oregon's just a weird team right now. Like they're wishy-washy right now. I say that as they're 3-1, but they're kind of wishy-washy right now. Speaking of wishy-washy, USC has scored like 89 points in like every one of their games until this week, where they only scored.
Caleb Williams struggled. Jordan Addison struggled.
They scored 17 points against.
Yeah, 17-14.
Oregon State, like. I mean,
I don't think Oregon State's a bad football team though.
They're not. Like they murdered Boise State. Again, Boise State's a Group of 5 team, but Boise State is always
they're one of the best Group of 5 teams. I mean,
like for the past 20 years, they're good. They're always good, no matter what. And they like killed them, like out the stadium, killed them, and they took it to the very end with USC. At home, where's this game? Am I blind? Yes.
It was at home. Yeah.
Yeah, they were at home. Caleb Williams only had 180 yards. Caleb Williams did struggle.
Yeah, Jordan Addison did too. But he caught the game-winning touchdown, but
yeah, like 16 for 36, 180 yards. That's good for 5 yards for completion. His longest pass was 22 yards. I mean, that's rough. I mean, it is a conference opponent, but you're pretty much only playing conference games from here on out. So,
yeah.
USC they're going to play Oregon. They're going to play Utah, I think. Washington State, Washington. Like the Pac-12's not terrible this year, and they're gonna have some big tests against one of those teams. They're probably gonna lose to one
Right.
of those teams if they keep playing like how they did against Oregon State. Um,
I agree.
Now a game that was weird to me was Ole Miss Tulsa. Ole Miss only beat Tulsa by 8 points, and
Yeah.
they're playing Kentucky this week.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Ole Miss is favored by 7 in this game. In the
Which is
Kentucky game.
wild to me. Which is like, what else does Kentucky have to do at this point? Like, they beat Florida, who's a top 25 team, and they beat everybody else who they beat. I don't remember who else they played, but they're 4-0. They're ranked 7. They've beaten a conference opponent who was a top 25 conference opponent, and they're still. I mean, I get it. I think Ole Miss is better at the moment, but they're favored by a whole touchdown. Like, you got to take the money line for that, right?
You mean the spread? Take the
Yeah,
spread?
the spread, whatever. I'm not a betting person. Like, you got to take Kentucky covers, right?
Yeah, I would take Kentucky to cover in this game. Yeah, for sure.
Like
I mean, I don't think. I mean, yeah, I'd probably take Kentucky to cover.
like Kentucky's not bad. I mean, they haven't looked
Because there's a possibility Kentucky wins this game. I mean,
on like I get it. Kentucky's on the road. Ole Miss is. I think we can all think Ole Miss is better, even with Kentucky being ranked 7 and Ole Miss being ranked only 14. Um, it's just the whole. I don't know. Kentucky's a very pro style team, much like um. I don't know who to compare them to, but they're a very pro style team, and very under center, like to the clock type of team. And Ole Miss is like the complete opposite antagonist of that. Like, Lane
yeah,
Kiffin wants to run 90 to 100 plays every game. He's an RPO style of offense, like rarely under center. Um, they both have similar end goals, which is to run the football, but they both do it in different styles. Like, Lane Kiffin, like I said, wants to run 90 to 100 plays a game, wants to get to the line quick, and wants to run RPO. Have the defense honest the entire game. And Mark Stoops wants to get under center and pound the rock and waste clock. And really, this game could go two completely different ways. Either Kentucky controls the clock, wins the game on just having the ball more, and pounding that Ole Miss defense where they're sucking air the entire game, or Ole Miss just kills them out the water and just runs them off the field. I don't know. I think Kentucky is capable of scoring a lot of points, but it's just
yeah. I don't see this being a blowout.
I don't know. This is a weird game. Like, these are the two, like, it's just you look at Ole Miss, and a couple years ago they won like 2 games or whatever, and then they bring in Lane Kiffin and they're winning 10 games now, and then Kentucky has never been this football school, and now suddenly they're this consistent top 10 team every year. It's just it's just weird. These two SEC teams you look at, they're super weird. But I think Kentucky covers. I think this will be a close game, but I do agree that Ole Miss is the better football team. But we'll get to pick'ems later. um, the Texas and the Texas Tech game. We'll move on to that. That was I picked Texas to win that game. I'm disappointed in Texas. They blow it, bro. I said this. This is one of those games that Texas
He's my
just.
upset pick.
I said it even before. Like, I knew I shouldn't have picked Texas. This is one of those games that they just lose. Those games that they just self-inflicted wounds and they just suck and they lose. And Texas Tech, they come back and they win.
Texas Tech got fined $50,000 for storming the field. The fans offered to help pay the fine, and then a bank actually covered the whole fine. That was wild to me.
it's. I was thinking about this when I watched it. I was like, bro, they're really storming the field after being ranked 22 Texas. It's like Lubbock act like they beat number 1 Alabama at home. Like, oh, we beat a ranked team. I saw a graphic. I don't know how long it's been since they beat a ranked team, but they said it was a while since the last time they actually beat a ranked team. It's good for Texas Tech, I guess. They ruined my pick'ems. Anyhow, TCU SMU. Your pick, your SMU pick wasn't that bad because they only lost by 8.
Yeah, this is one of my only 2 losses of the week.
Whatever. TCU did prevail. Sonny Dykes gets his revenge against his former team. Tanner Mordecai, though, did put up numbers against a Big 12 defense, which is scary to say as a Memphis fan because, that SMU is looking pretty nice, as they typically do. Kansas Duke, this should have been game day game. Probably not because the Tennessee Florida game was pretty good. Kansas Duke was I mean, it wasn't a. It was a cool game. I mean, it was a game. Well, I only say that because Kansas is 4-0 and they're not ranked. I'm happy Florida State's ranked because I'm rooting for Norvell, but Kansas is 4-0 for the first time probably since ever. Like they're doing not Kansas things this year, and it's great to see. Kansas is, my second favorite team at the moment.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Appalachian State lost after blowing a 28-3. Appalachian State has been the weirdest team this year, along with Texas, because they who did they take it to North Carolina in week 1.
Yeah.
To the very last play, they scored 61 points and they lose, and then they beat A&M on the road, top 10 win. They beat Troy on the final play of the game, and then they lose to James Madison, who in their own right is a good team, but
this is their first year D1, ain't it?
No, they've been D1. They've been FCS is still D1.
That's what I meant. That's their first year FBS.
Yeah, this is their first year in the Sun Belt, I'm pretty sure. But App State, it's not like, it was a back and forth game. It was they blew this 25-point lead in the second half to James Madison. Like App State didn't score in the second half. They didn't score in the second half. And this is the weirdest team. Because we ride the App State train and be like, oh, their only loss was against North Carolina. This team could be really good and make the New Year's Six. But
you did not. You picked Troy to beat them. You did not ride the App State train.
No, I'm saying most people are like App State. Oh, we're on the App State bandwagon. App State's gonna be good. We're going to game day. Oh, and then they lose to James Madison. It's like and then it's the same with Texas. Like
they got game day and decided not to win another game all year.
It's like we're satisfied for this season. We got game day. We can just lay back and not try anymore. But it's the same thing with Texas. Like they had this really close game with Alabama, right? Texas has heart without Quinn Ewers. Then they lose to Texas Tech on the road and blow this lead. Like Texas is usually like that you really expect that from Texas, and I guess now App State, but it's just those teams are the two most weird teams in my opinion.
I have a question. Is it too soon to say Ohio State is the number 1 team in the country?
I think so. I mean,
it's close.
I think they're the best team in the Big Ten right now, with Michigan being 1 spot behind them. I don't know. I still think Alabama's better. Even with the weird game against Kent State, I still think Georgia's better. But it's really only those two teams. Ohio State's, as long as they have C.J. Stroud and Smith and Jigba, Trayvon Henderson in the backfield. Is that his name? Trayvon Henderson? Yeah. Him in the backfield. As long as that offense is going, I don't think not a lot of teams can beat that team. So I think it is a little early to say.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they are. I was just asking.
I think it is early to say. But soon enough, all these Big Ten teams are going to start playing each other, and the good teams will weed themselves out. Will separate themselves in the Big Ten. That usually happens every year. Because usually by week 5 or week 6, we have like 8 teams ranked in the Big Ten, and then by the end of the year, there's only like 3 or 4 good ones that have separated themselves. But right now, I think Ohio State is the third best team in the country. I think the AP poll has it right as the third best team behind Alabama and Georgia. I wish Alabama and Georgia played each other in the regular season, because I feel like I'm tired of seeing them in the playoff. I would rather see them sorted out in the regular season, and then the playoff doesn't feature them. That's just my opinion. I'm tired of seeing Alabama Georgia, because I was tired of seeing Clemson Alabama. Now I'm tired of seeing Alabama Georgia. Even though
at least that was 2 different conferences.
Yeah, but we always saw them at the end of the year in the playoff, no matter what.
Yeah.
I think that's it for like recapping games. I mean, Middle Tennessee beat Miami, which was like we talk about how like Texas A&M in the first half like looked light years better than Arkansas. MTSU just looked better than Miami. Miami just couldn't hang with MTSU, which is it's just wild to say.
Pretty concerning.
Like, you could have probably guessed that with the way how Miami played Southern Miss to begin the season. They were trailing at half, and then they kind of took the game in the second half. But like MTSU had like 3 like touchdowns of 60 yards or more against Miami. Like, usually Miami has this shutdown defense. That's what they're known for. And they couldn't
turnover chain
and they couldn't hang with MTSU's offense. They scored 45. That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing for Miami, this is a historic program.
Who was supposed to be like great this year.
Decent this year? Cristobal can't beat MTSU? That is rough. At home? Nah, bro, that's wild.
Yeah, let's move on to Pick'ems.
Great way to close out the recap.
All right, so we're going to start with our records. Tanner, you went 5-4 this week.
Bro, I thought they would look way worse than that. I was like, man, my record's looking rough.
I went 7-2.
Yeah, you did way better than me.
This puts us at a tied record of 21-14.
Bro, I was in like a comfortable lead after week 1. I was like, man, I'm the pick'em wizard. I had all of these. I picked Florida to win. I picked, I forget the games, but I picked all of them to win. And you had a rough record too. I was like, man, I got this record in the bag. And then I'm making some rough picks these past couple of weeks. But I'm making some interesting picks. Like, I'm not picking all the favorite teams, man. I picked Florida to win against Tennessee. I picked Stanford to beat USC. I picked Iowa State to win this past week. I picked a lot of like upset picks because, going with the favorite team's boring, and it never, works out that way. We're always the favorite team wins. And, which the case of Texas Tech being Texas and, Kansas State beating Oklahoma, all that type of stuff. So
sounds like you're picking the wrong underdogs.
It looks like it. Every other game where I pick the favorite team, they lose. So it's like, I can't win. I can't win.
Well, since we have such a slate this Saturday.
Dude, this week is going to be wild.
We have 15 games this week.
15?
First up.
Did you have a Kansas game on here?
Yes.
Let's go, Kansas 5-0. I'm already picking Kansas.
First up is Washington at UCLA. Washington 3-point favorite.
Only 3. I mean, UCLA's good in their own right. They're 4-0 as well. Chip Kelly's still the coach. I'm gonna go with Washington. Washington looked really good last week.
Yeah, I'm going with Washington too.
That was a real prove it
Yeah.
game for Washington last week. They played Michigan State last week. Or was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Last week. Michigan State's back to being Michigan State.
Yeah. That win against Michigan State was a real prove it game for them. Penix looked really good. It looked like the 2020 version of himself before he tore his ACL. Washington's going to be decent with Penix at quarterback, so I'm going to take Washington in that game. Are they on the road?
Yeah.
I'm going to take Washington.
All right, next up is Michigan, 10.5-point favorite versus Iowa. I think it's obvious I'm taking Michigan. Even though Iowa does have a good defense, I don't know if they can keep up on offense.
This might turn out to be a typical Big Ten game where it's just it ends in like a 13-10 final score.
Yeah. This is one of those games that Iowa wins.
Yeah, even though they got murdered by Michigan in the Big Ten championship last year.
And scored 7 on a field goal, 2 safeties in week 1. This is a game Iowa wins. But I'm taking Michigan.
Iowa historically really does good against Michigan. I think when Michigan was like 8-0 or whatever that one year they had Jabril Peppers, and Iowa was the first team to beat them. Like in a huge upset. Iowa typically does good against Michigan, but I'm gonna go with Michigan. Michigan looks really good. Like really, really good. I mean, they kind of struggled against their first, real opponent this past week, but Blake Corum had a career day on the ground. I'm still gonna go with Michigan. I think Michigan is really, really, really good. I think they might go.
Yeah.
They have the potential to go back to the playoff. I think Michigan's really good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm taking Michigan. Next up, Kentucky and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 6.5-point favorite, not a 7. I was wrong, but still, same thing.
I touched on this earlier. I think Ole Miss is better, even with Kentucky being ranked 7 and already beating a top 25 team in their own right. I'm still gonna go with Ole Miss because I just think Ole Miss is better, and I don't think Kentucky has the personnel or the game plan to keep up with Ole Miss. So I'm gonna go with Ole Miss.
As much as I like watching Lane Kiffin's offense, give me Kentucky.
I ain't mad at it. This is a weird game to pick. Like I mentioned,
it's a hard game to pick. It's kind of like Tennessee and Florida last week. Tennessee and Florida was a hard game to pick.
Yeah, this is like,
especially if you was picking the spread, because Tennessee Florida spread was hard to pick at 10.5.
Yeah, like obviously Florida covered, but like,
but
Kentucky has. I mean, they've had a prove it game against Florida. They beat them. Ole Miss hasn't really had that prove it game yet, where they've.
Yeah, and them struggling with Tulsa really concerns me. Like
at home,
I mean, Tulsa may be good. Could be good.
They may. Even then, it's Tulsa. When you're this Ole Miss team who has high expectations, me included, has high expectations for Ole Miss. You can't struggle against those bad teams. I mentioned it last week with Florida. You can't struggle against the bad teams like South Florida, and with Florida,
Ole Miss is breaking out those Realtree helmets this week.
Those are fire. Like Ole Miss always has really good jerseys. Like I like the powder blue ones. Those are really nice.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna go with Ole Miss. They're at home. I think this is a real prove it game for Ole Miss, and Kentucky's already had.
If you're a better, I would take Kentucky to cover the 6.5 though.
Yeah, this is gonna be a really good game. Kentucky has had that that test this year against Florida, and Ole Miss hasn't had that real prove it test game. So it's gonna be rough for Ole Miss, but I'm still gonna take them.
All right, next up is Oklahoma, 6.5-point favorite over TCU.
Kentucky drops 12 spots after losing. Against TCU coming off a
You
pretty
mean Oklahoma?
yeah, my bad. Um, man, where is this at TCU?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
I'm gonna go Oklahoma just because I don't think they lose twice in a row.
if Lincoln Riley's the head coach, I'm picking Oklahoma to win this game because I don't think Lincoln Riley ever lost 2 games in a row at Oklahoma. I don't know, man. I'm gonna go Oklahoma. This is I think this is a what how like I don't know how to word this. I think how depending on how Oklahoma responds to this game is going to show how. Again, it's going to be his first 4 or 5 games as a head coach, but I think this is going to show how what kind of head coach Brent Venables is at
Yeah.
Oklahoma. Just depending on how Oklahoma comes out of this game. If Oklahoma comes out and wins by 60 against TCU, then I think Oklahoma will be fine. But if they struggle again against TCU, albeit on the road at a decent TCU team, Oklahoma should win this game. And I think if they keep it close and struggle again, I think Oklahoma may have a rough season ahead of them.
Yeah, it's possible. Purdue and Minnesota. Minnesota's favored by 12.5.
Taking Minnesota. Minnesota's
Yeah,
decent this year.
I'm taking Minnesota. Yeah, ain't no point in even. Um,
Senior quarterback, what's his face? Tanner Morgan, Tanner Brothers. We're synced just because of that. I know what he's thinking right now, and he's thinking we're gonna beat whoever we're playing this week. Purdue. We're gonna beat Purdue. I know what he's thinking. So
yeah, he forgot who they was playing. That's why you said that. He
yeah,
knew who they
yeah.
was playing.
He knew he was forgot because he knew he was gonna win already. He's like, it don't even matter. And yeah, Minnesota's gonna win.
All right, this next one's interesting. Texas Tech at Kansas State. Kansas State's favored by 8.
I think Texas Tech covers. Like it's gonna be like Texas Tech has kept it close with every team that they played so far. Um, and Kansas State just beat Oklahoma. They're ranked now, pretty
I'm
sure.
taking Kansas State. I'm buying the Kansas State hype.
Kansas State. I'm gonna go with. Where's this at? Is this at Lubbock?
Yeah, Kansas State. No, it's at Kansas State. My bad. I don't know why I said it. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Texas Tech. I'm gonna go with Texas Tech because Texas Tech has looked decent this year. They've beaten 2 ranked teams so far, being Houston and Texas. So Donovan Smith, the backup quarterback, hasn't looked bad. So I'm gonna go with Texas Tech to beat another ranked team.
Okay. All right. Oregon State versus Utah. Utah's favored by 10.5.
Oregon State did give USC a hard time this week, but I'm gonna go with Utah.
It did.
They may give Utah a hard time, but I'm still gonna go with Utah. You had Utah in the playoff to start the year, so Utah
Yeah,
is
I'm backing off on that. Give me Oregon State in an upset.
at Oregon State first upset of the video or the podcast. I picked Texas Tech to win in an upset, but wow, this is a bigger upset. Oregon State gets a ranked win at home.
At Utah.
Oh, ranked win on the road at Utah. I like it. I think that's a good pick. That's a good upset pick. Oregon State's not a bad football team.
All right. Next up, Alabama, the 17.5-point favorite over Arkansas.
Arkansas wins if the kicker doesn't hit the most impossible top of the field goal post challenge ever. Um, I think we think differently about this game. Maybe not, but I think we think differently about this game if Arkansas wins and, they're still ranked top 10. I'd be like, oh, can rank 9 or something
Yeah, maybe
Arkansas.
Alabama's probably only favored by 14 then.
Yep. I mean, I'm overthinking this. Give me Alabama. Alabama's not losing.
Yeah,
I
give me
mean,
Alabama.
this is a road game. They lost this type of game last year at Texas A&M, to an unranked Texas A&M, but still give me Alabama. I think Alabama wins this game.
Yeah, me too. Give me Alabama. Oklahoma State versus Baylor at Baylor. Baylor's 2.5-point favorite.
Baylor's favorite.
It's a home game. I think that's the only reason why. Give me Oklahoma State.
Oak State against Baylor. Baylor beat a decent team in Iowa State.
Give me Mike Gundy. I'm a man. I'm 40.
He ain't 40 no more. He's up there. He's about 60 now. I'm gonna take Oklahoma State as well. They lost by this much to Baylor last year at the Big 12 championship. Like this much. If they get this many yards, they're in the playoff last year. So I'm gonna go Oklahoma State.
Wake Forest at Florida State. Florida State's favored by 7.
This is a big test for the Noles.
For both teams. This is the big test for both teams.
I think Wake Forest passed that test last week against Clemson. And this is their first big road game for Wake Forest. And this is the first true test for the Noles this year. I'm gonna go with the Seminoles this game. I think Wake Forest might be a lot better. Just more you really know what you're getting out of Wake Forest. More so than you know what you're getting out of Florida State. But I'm gonna go with Florida State, just hoping that Norvell has a good season.
And then I'll call Deion.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable if Norvell's out that Deion comes up with Florida State.
Well, Deion's name's been mentioned for the Georgia Tech job, so
he ain't going to Georgia Tech. What? I know it's Atlanta, but Georgia Tech, come on now.
You might be neighbors with Deion soon.
Might be, but I'm gonna go with Florida State in this game. Noles go to 5-0. Wake loses 2 in a row against ranked teams. Give me Florida State.
Yeah, give me Mike Norvell squad too. Really rooting for Mike. Yeah, I just want to see Mike succeed, and I think Florida State. I think he's got them on track. I think they're looking like a solid football team. Now, granted, they haven't had that test yet, but they're looking.
This is their first test of the year. This is whatever happens in this game will really say a lot about both football teams.
Right, yeah. Next up, Iowa State versus Kansas. Iowa State's a 3-point favorite.
Give me Kansas. Kansas goes to 5-0, gets ranked. Can't give me Kansas.
Kansas got that chip on their shoulder.
They got that dog in them.
This week.
They got that dog in them. They got X-rayed last week. Dog in them confirmed. Kansas, give me Kansas. They're going 5-0 for the first time since they've been in the Big 12 in football. They're going to 5-0. I'm not sure that's true. I doubt that, but they haven't done any. I think they've won 5 games the last 3 years combined. So if they're gonna go to 5-0.
Sorry, I just held down the freaking wrong button. Hold on. I'm trying to do these go through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Texas A&M versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State's favored by 3.5.
Mississippi State is favored over Texas A&M.
I'm pretty sure. Look it up. Hold on. Double check. Because I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
I'm gonna go with A&M in this game. Mississippi State has looked decent this year, but I'm gonna go with A&M because they've won. They've beaten
I
two
mean,
ranked.
Mississippi State's a 4-point favorite.
I don't know who does these spreads. This is weird. I think Texas A&M is. I don't want to say clearly, but I'm gonna say clearly. They're clearly the better team in this scenario, and Mississippi State's decent, but against Texas A&M, I'm gonna go with Texas A&M at
I'm
home
gonna take the
or not.
Bulldogs.
You're
I'm
going
gonna
with
take the
Mississippi State.
Bulldogs. I'm gonna take Mississippi State.
Are they at home?
I really do. Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, the place is rocky, but
and darn cowbells get on my nerves, bro.
yeah, I'm gonna take Mississippi State. Virginia Tech versus North Carolina. North Carolina's favored by 9. I'm gonna take North Carolina.
Yeah, we mentioned it to start the podcast. Virginia Tech looks bad. I really don't.
We're not about to waste a lot of time on that.
Yeah, I don't trust Virginia Tech. Give me North Carolina.
Stanford versus Oregon. Oregon's favored by 17.
Stanford hasn't looked bad, but I'm gonna go with Oregon. Oregon has beat better teams. Oregon did lose to Stanford last year in a big upset on the road, but I'm gonna go with Oregon to win this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Oregon. Game of the week. NC State versus Clemson. Clemson's favored by 6.5.
NC State beat Clemson last season in a big upset. I'm gonna go with the Fighting Wolfpack in this game to win against the Tigers for back-to-back seasons. NC State's, besides the East Carolina game, NC State has looked really, really good. Devin Leary has been a great quarterback this season. He's got a really good test against this good Clemson defense in this game. Clemson struggled to stop the good Wake Forest offense last week. I think they'll struggle again this week against a good Wolfpack offense. I'm going with the Pack.
My surprise face is not because you picked them, because I picked them too.
We're both going with the.
My surprise face was because I thought she was going to go Clemson.
No, I'm gonna go with the Pack. I think this is a perfect storm for a Clemson loss. They struggled against Wake Forest last week, who is a good football team, but their defense struggled last week against Wake Forest. And
yeah, I'm not shocked that you picked them. I'm shocked I am shocked that you picked them, but I'm not shocked because you picked them. I'm shocked because I thought you were going to go Clemson. So I thought we were going to have different picks on this one. Because I thought I was going to get to go my third upset pick of the week, NC State, but no, you stole my thunder.
We both got NC State in this game. I think it's not because we think Clemson's worse. I just think it's a perfect storm for Clemson to lose this game. I think it's too perfect. NC State's got this good offense, this good quarterback. Clemson struggles last week against Wake Forest, and I think Clemson's first loss comes against NC State this week.
Yeah.
All right, is that the last game?
It's the last game.
Moving on to the national.
Both of those quick.
Right. Moving on to the National Football League.
Do you even want the pick'em records on this?
It ain't great. I know I'm around 500 for the NFL.
You're 17-17.
Exactly.
And I'm 13-21. So.
Bro, this week was weird. Titans almost blow a lead in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs lose. The Bills lose. The Detroit blows a lead at home. Jaguars beat the Chargers by 28 points. I mean, Justin Herbert was hurt, but still, like the Jaguars, like the Sunday night game might have been the worst football game I've ever seen in my entire life. Like Denver won 11-10.
It was 7-5 at one point.
Like what?
Jimmy G pulled a Dan Orlovsky and stepped out of the back of the end zone.
Like that might have been the most boring, worst game I've ever seen in my life. And then Green Bay beats a Bucs team whose best receiver was Russell Gage.
You know what's crazy?
And that didn't really work out for Atlanta last season.
We had like we had the butt punt, which is similar to the butt fumble,
The butt punt, bro.
and
It's still won.
and the quarterback stepping out of the back of the end zone, which has happened once before. We had quarterback stepping out of the end zone and the butt punt in the same day.
Bro,
That's just
and
wild
that
to me.
and Jimmy G stepping out the back of the end zone lost the Niners that game. That
Yeah,
was that was
right.
2 points decided the game for the Niners, bro. That's wild. And then we had a weird
Russell Wilson
Monday game.
decided to show up on the last drive of the game.
What, bro? Eli Manning is funny for that. He said they should have paid the punter.
He said they should have. Yeah, he said they should have paid the punter that.
Like, bro, that's so funny. Like, bro, Geno Smith is out here throwing for 300 yards, while Russell Wilson isn't even just getting past 11 points against the Niners, bro. It's looking like the Seahawks have won that.
But we did both pick the Niners to win that game though, so
I think, bro.
I think we thought it was gonna be more. I thought we was gonna think we thought it was gonna be more high scoring than that, but
Yeah, it's the NFL's weird. Like we get the Jaguars winning by 28. I was this close to picking the Jags.
The Chargers are banged up.
I know. Like
I can't say that though because I said freaking Chargers. I was taking the Chargers with or without Herbert. That's wild.
like Bosa got hurt that game. J.C. Jackson has been hurt all season. Derwin James is always hurt, but he's not hurt. And Justin Herbert was has like broken ribs or something, and he played hurt. So like, but again, you lost by 20.
Yeah, he wasn't letting the team doctor give him a shot for sure.
Like, I wouldn't trust that team doctor either. But you lose by 28 to the Jaguars. I mean, the Jaguars might be good this season. What's his face? The coach? I forget his name.
Doug Peterson?
Yeah, Doug Peterson against he's got what's his face? Trevor. I'm forgetting everybody's name. Trevor Lawrence. He's got Trevor Lawrence looking decent this year, and he's got that defense looking good too. A shutout to the Colts last week.
What's his face got that team down in what you call it?
Yeah, what's his face got that team down
looking good
down yonder. Bro, I think their defense is what's helping them win this game. They shut out the Colts last week, and they held the Chargers to only 10 points this week. The Jaguars might be a problem.
That's scary for us Titan fans.
Once in a blue moon, the Jaguars are good every now and then. Though I think though.
Has the Jaguars ever been good?
Yeah, they have a couple times, just a few times. I think that's it for NFL recap. I mean, the NFL was weird this week. Like, if you thought one team was gonna win, they either almost lost or they did lose.
Who is your favorite for MVP right now?
My favorite for MVP at the moment, it's probably Josh Allen. I mean, he's just got the best stats. I mean, last week I would have said Tua, which is weird. Have you seen that video on Twitter where Tua has they reversed it to where he looks like a right-handed quarterback? And everybody's like, oh, it really changes perspective how I see that.
It does. And then, I saw that, and he looks amazing.
It just looks better. We just have this, this lefty, this righty bias over lefties, and everything looks weird when you're a lefty. And then that throw that the Bills lost the game on, where Josh Allen threw it at the dirt. I think that same guy flipped it and made him a lefty QB. And was like, if Tua did this, if Tua did that, he would be slandered on Twitter for the next 2 weeks. And I was like, that's so right. Josh Allen really pulled a Tua as a righty, and then was like, oh, it's Josh Allen, he's good.
Josh Allen missed a gimme touchdown on that too.
I know, he threw it at his feet. I mean, sometimes that happens. Sometimes they don't have the arm strength. And
I will say what hurt the Bills is Stephon Diggs was cramping the entire game. He couldn't stay on the field.
Yeah, it's like it really hindered that offense and what they could do the entire game, and Miami took advantage of that.
It does hurt a little bit when the number one receiver in the league can't stay on the field. That does hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the Raiders trading for the third or the second best receiver in the league, or arguably the first, and being the only 0-3 team?
Like Raiders are 0-3, bro. They've played good teams to start the year.
They went out and got all that talent, and they're 0-3.
I mean, they haven't played a bad team yet. They played Chargers week 1. I mean,
yeah, but still.
They blew. I'm not going to give an excuse for them week 2. They blew a lead to the Cardinals, which they should have won that game. Then they almost came back and won against the Titans last week. So, I mean, they haven't looked horrible, but they could look better. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
They could have gave
Devontae when this team was assembled, it was never supposed to be 0-3.
I mean, you look at last week, right? How do you give Davante Adams the ball when you got Matt Collins going for 160? That's all I'm saying. If your best guy's got 160, you give him the ball. And then he mossed bro. What's his face? I'm forgetting his name too. The guy who got mossed like 4 times in a row on the last drive for the Titans. Terrence Mitchell. God, I want him cut. He's not good. He couldn't cover Matt Collins. Again, he had 160 yards. He's obviously good.
I didn't watch much of the Titans game. Did Treylon Burks return punts this game?
I don't think so. I don't know who.
He had went up to the coach and said he wanted to return punts. So
I think it'd be good, but I think we want him more on the receiving end on offense.
Yeah, but Kyle Phillips cannot be returning punts anymore.
Kyle Phillips, he's a good receiver. I just don't think I don't think he returned punts for UCLA. I don't think he's ever done that. And I guess Vrabel and them thought he was best suited to do it for the Titans, and he's obviously shown
obviously not.
Obviously not. So I think I want him on offense, in the slot working, because I think he's a good receiver. He's a real bring your lunch pail to work type of guy. Really, he's got the sneaky athleticism. He's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Kyle Phillips is pretty decent. So I would like him on offense rather than returning punts. That's all I'm saying. NFL pick'ems this week. Good or bad, we got pick'ems this week. First game, the Thursday night game, was a good game. We have the Dolphins going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals, and the Bengals are wearing their all-white uniforms this week.
I'm pretty sure they painted the field white, like all the orange on the field. I think they painted white over it because I saw a post they made.
Bro, that's gonna be so aesthetically pleasing to look at. I'm gonna go with the Dolphins in this game. The Dolphins are hot. They haven't lost. They're the 1 seed in the AFC at the moment. Just beat the best team in the league. I'm going with the Dolphins on the road in the Cincinnati.
The only question I have, may not be answered yet, is Tua playing?
He came back and played in the Bills game.
Yeah, I know, but the NFL was looking into that because how did he come back? Like, he didn't go to concussion protocol or nothing. Like,
yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, you want him out there. I don't think I really blame the Dolphins. I think you want him out there again in a game like that. But I'm gonna go, if Tua plays, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. But if he doesn't, I don't really know who the backup is. Teddy Bridgewater. If Tua doesn't play, I'm gonna go with the Bengals. But if Tua does play, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins to win on the road.
And this is a tough one. I've been looking at this and it's tough. I don't know. I really don't know which way to go on this. Because like Joe Burrow hasn't looked great.
He struggled. He has struggled. They got back on their feet this week against the Jets, but it is the Jets without Zach Wilson, so and they kind of had to.
Yeah, that Joe Flacco is wearing off. So
he wore off 4 years ago.
Well, he had a good game. Like, what was it, last week when they came back and beat the Browns? Yeah.
I mean, it's the Browns. It's the Browns. There is bound to happen.
Yeah. Speaking of the Browns, Myles Garrett had a car wreck. He's out for some time.
But he's luckily he survived and didn't have any life-threatening injuries. But that's
yeah.
That's going to be another blow to the Browns, not having Watson and Garrett. The Browns are going to, limp their way to Week 11 when Watson comes back.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of like you. If the Tua plays, I want the Dolphins. But the uncertainty of Tua makes. I think Jalen Waddle's questionable too, though. I think the uncertainty of Tua makes this very hard to pick. Like,
I think right now I just trust the Dolphins more because the Bengals with Joe Burrow haven't looked like there's no consistency. Like they start 0-2 and then they win last week, but it wasn't the craziest win ever.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Dolphins.
We're agreeing a lot this week in pick'ems, but I think the Dolphins are just more trustworthy right now. Mike McDaniel's he's got that team looking right over in Miami. The game in London, the Vikings play the Saints in a mid-off in London.
Another thing, is Dalvin Cook gonna play?
He's not. He's out for a couple of weeks, I think.
Well, they said he's dead today.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was.
DeAndre Swift's out for a couple weeks.
I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
Dalvin
I got him
Cook,
on my fantasy team, and I have no other running backs really outside of Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Swift. So it's rough out here. Anyway,
I'm gonna go with the Saints. I'm gonna go with the Saints.
I'm going with the Vikings.
Without Dalvin Cook, I mean, he probably will play, but he probably won't be 100%. I'm gonna go with the Saints in London to win this game.
I think Jarvis and Michael Thomas are both questionable for this game too. I'm gonna go Vikings. Justin Jefferson's due for another good game. So
yeah, he's struggled the last couple of weeks. I like the Vikings. They came back and beat the Lions, and I think I'm hanging on to that blowout loss against the Eagles too much, but I don't know. I like the Saints. I like the Saints this week. Next game, we got Dallas at home against the Commanders. Dallas still with
Dak has not ruled out a return for this week. He said he could return this week.
I don't want to rush him though. I think that's a big rush for Dak. I think even with Commanders are an okay team. I wouldn't rush it. I mean, if you're getting by with Cooper Rush right now, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the Cowboys, Dak or no Dak. I mean, the thing about the Cowboys is a lot of Cowboys fans don't want Dak to come back. Like they want Cooper Rush to be the starter, which makes no sense to me. But
not at all.
Yeah, just because they won 2 games with Cooper Rush, like they want Dak to be the starter also. Like I think
it's Jerry Jones guy. It's Cooper Rush.
But I think what happens is the Cowboys have dumbed the offense down so much,
that it works.
Not dumbed it. Yeah, no, I'm not going to say dumbed it down, because that makes Cooper Rush sound like he doesn't have a good football IQ. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying that offense is built for Dak, who has the athleticism to make plays. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Cooper Rush has that same athleticism.
No, they're giving him the. I don't want to say the Ben Roethlisberger.
I think that
but
they've watered down that offense to help Cooper Rush.
Yeah, because he doesn't get a lot of reps with the A team, the starters.
Right.
He gets a lot of reps with. Sorry, go ahead.
My bad. You're good. If Dak comes back, they can open that offense up again, and whether bad or good, I don't know. We'll see, but
I think with Cooper Rush starting, that's why Noah Brown, the past couple of weeks has done as well as he has, because Cooper Rush and Noah Brown are B team guys. They're backups, and they get a lot of reps in practice with each other. So I think they have that, they have that synergy to where they can, make plays with each other. So they, Noah Brown is producing as a result of Cooper Rush starting because, Cooper Rush is comfortable with Noah Brown as a receiver. And I think that's why the offense is dumbed down because they're trying to make Cooper Rush as comfortable as possible. And with Dak on the field, like I think this is like proved that the Cowboys overcomplicate their offense. Last year, they led the NFL in points scored. And I'm talking about they're overcomplicating their offense, but I think they have to. I've always wondered why the Cowboys pass so much when they do have Zeke, and Zeke has proven that he can be a good running back and lead the league in rushing yards multiple occasions.
They have one of the best running back duos in the NFL.
And and I feel like they refuse to run the ball with them in some cases, which could be you could point to the banged up and lesser offensive line that they have in Dallas now. You could point to maybe Zeke regressing and not being as good as he once was, not taking care of the football. But it's Tony Pollard producing in that offense. Like, I don't know what it is, why they don't run the football as much as they used to. Maybe because Dak has shown that he's a top 10 quarterback and can make plays passing the ball. But I don't know. It really is. It's a big question why they don't run the ball as much as I think they should. Because
I think Michael Gallup will be back this week too.
That should help them. But I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I spent a lot of time talking about them for some reason.
He was questionable for this week, and they decided to hold him off. So I think he'll be back this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dallas at home, Jerry's World. Another 1 p.m. game. The Colts at home at Lucas Oil against the Tennessee Titans. Coming off a win for the first time this season. Both teams.
Give me the Titans.
Both of them. They're both coming off a win for the first time. The Colts are 1-1-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying both teams have coming off a win for the first time.
That's what I said. Give me the Titans.
Oh, I thought you were saying my bad. I'm gonna go. I can't pick against the Titans. I think the Colts might win this game because they have Jonathan Taylor, and I think we have the worst rush defense in the NFL as far as yards per carry go. But I'm still gonna go with the Titans. I'm still gonna go with the Titans.
Jonathan Taylor versus Derrick Henry would be fun.
Yeah. We swept the Colts last season. But it's a different season, and the Titans started 1-2. But I'm gonna go with the Titans again because I can't pick against them.
We might miss Harold Landry a lot in this game.
Yeah, we're gonna miss him a lot the entire season.
Yeah, but especially this game.
Yeah. The Jaguars at the Eagles. This is another tough test for the Jaguars. They've proven it every time this season. Are the Jaguars for real? Do they win on the road in Philadelphia, who in my eyes are the best team in the NFC at the moment? I'm still not completely sold on Hurts. Like okay. I'm gonna get this out of the way.
You're just
no. I'm gonna get this out of the way with Hurts. I think Hurts is playing well this year. I'm not gonna deny that. I'm not gonna hang on to my take at the beginning of the season where I didn't think Hurts was that good of a quarterback. He's been playing great. He's been proving me wrong. I still think I need to see more. It's 4 games in. I'm not gonna jump on the bandwagon yet, but Hurts has played great. I'm not gonna deny that. I think Hurts has played great. I still need to see more. That's all I'm saying.
You're doing the same thing with Jalen Hurts that I'm doing with Georgia in college.
I still need to see more. That's all I'm saying. I just need to see more. I need a bigger sample size. 4 games is a decent amount of games, or 3 games rather. But
what's crazy?
I still need to see more. What's up?
The only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL are led by Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts.
That is pretty crazy. And they were in the same quarterback room in Alabama. Yeah. I'm gonna go.
Jalen Hurts is an Alabama quarterback. I don't care if he played at Oklahoma or not. Jalen Hurts is an Alabama quarterback.
I don't know. He's just a college quarterback in my eyes. I'm gonna go. I'm I want to pick the Jaguars so bad just because it's fun. Um, but I'm gonna go with the Eagles. The Eagles, like I said, right now are the best team in the NFC right now. They played great. I'm gonna go with the Philadelphia Eagles at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles too. Yeah, they really. I mean, I'm not. I'm not sold on the Jaguars for sure.
If the Jags win this game, if they win this game,
We might be talking
especially
about Jags for the Super Bowl type stuff.
it's
I mean,
if
like,
especially if the way that they've won the last two games, I might pick the Jags for every game the rest of the season. Like the Jags are they've looked great the past 2 weeks, and if they win this game, boy oh boy, Jacksonville might be back.
with
Next,
Christian Kirk as wide receiver one.
they're looking like geniuses for paying Kirk that much money. Buffalo at Baltimore. Another tough test for the Bills and another tough test for the Ravens. The AFC, like we said at the beginning of the season in our first episode, the AFC is loaded, and pretty much every AFC matchup is going to be a good game.
We have Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a menace, bro. Josh Allen is just like
carrying my fantasy team at the moment, especially last week.
no, but like the stuff he does, like if you just watch the game, like he ripped the dude's helmet off in the game the other day. Like
He's really good. Like if you compare, like his career arc is fascinating. Like he looks like this. He looks like
John. Whoa. Josh Allen will run you over and then just get up and talk. Like no other quarterback does that. Like
he's a really fun player. He's a top three quarterback right now, easily. Baltimore. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the Ravens at home. I'm gonna go with the Ravens at home. I know I'm saying the Bills are the best team in the league, but they lost last week. They definitely should have won that game. That game was practically handed to them with that butt punt, and they lost that game. Zeke's struggling. I understand that he didn't really have a number one receiver, and Gabe Davis has been kind of hurt, but Baltimore has looked really good this season. They kind of handled the Patriots last week, even though they let up score 27 points. I think they kind of handled that game.
Mac Jones also got hurt though.
Yeah, but even then, I think besides that, that horrific the collapse against the Dolphins a couple weeks ago, I think the Ravens have been pretty spotless outside of that. So I'm gonna go with the Ravens in this game. I think they take this big win on the road or at home rather.
I'm gonna take the Bills. If Stephon Diggs he's not gonna be in the heat obviously like he was last week, so that'll help with cramps. So I think yeah, I think Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs get going, and Gabe Davis will be out there, and Dawson Knox. So, and I think Baltimore's defense has struggled at times. So I'm gonna take the Bills.
I don't hate it, but I like Baltimore at home. Baltimore rarely loses at home. The Patriots at the Packers.
I mean the Packers.
I think if Mac Jones doesn't play, I think this is an easy pack.
He's not.
He's not playing? Yeah,
No, Brian Hoyer starting.
The Packers might kill them.
Why Bailey Zapp isn't starting, I don't know. But Brian Hoyer is starting.
Give me the Packers. Big win at Tampa last week. Yeah, give me the Packers.
Yeah, they said Mac Jones has a severe ankle injury or severe. I mean, I don't know why I said severe. High ankle sprain.
Yeah, those take a couple of weeks to get back from.
Well, it says that normally requires surgery, and he's currently getting second opinions. So,
not looking good for Mac Jones. I'm taking the Packers. Next game, the almighty Broncos going to Las Vegas to take on the winless Raiders. Such a great matchup. I'm gonna go with the Raiders.
I'm surprised this wasn't like Monday Night Football the way they've been picking these games.
Just the get all the hype for the best game of the week. I'm gonna go with the Raiders to get on track and get their first win of the season. I don't really trust Denver right now, even with Russell Wilson, as great as he is. I don't really trust Denver right now. I could say the same for the Raiders. Josh McDaniel is not looking like he's head coach material at the moment, but I'm going with the Raiders to get their first win at home. At Denver, like I said, I can't really trust Denver right now, so I'm going with the Raiders.
Yeah, give me the Raiders too. I just don't see them starting 0-4. So
if they start 0-4, might be a throwaway season, to be honest. Sunday Night Football. It'll be a really, really good game. Is Mike Evans only suspended one game?
Yeah.
All right, so Brady's gonna have Mike Evans back.
Julio's back this week.
It's Tampa Bay, Kansas City. I forgot to say the actual game.
I'm pretty sure Julio Jones is back this week.
Julio Jones might be back. We don't know about Chris Godwin. He may be out another week, probably. Mike Evans being back from suspension. Brady actually having actual receivers this week at home.
Instead of Cole Beasley.
Against the Chiefs.
Yeah, well.
Bro, I tried to do this in one take, but obviously it ain't happening. But it's fine. Brady having actual receivers back for this game is going to be, I think, huge. He almost went darn near undefeated without any receivers this year. So that says a lot about how the Buccaneers. Golly. I think that says a lot about the Buccaneers and Tom Brady, even more about how bad of a receiving core he's had, and them still being only 2-1 and 2 points away from being 3-0. All 20 years of being at the with the Patriots has prepared Tom Brady for this season. Only having pasty white receivers as his core.
Now Cole Beasley only played like 6 snaps the other day, so
yeah, he didn't really play much.
I honestly expected to see him on the field more than he was. I mean, even if he don't know the offense, the way they was looking, Tom could have just said, "Just run a route, I'll find you."
Just go out there and run a route, do something. I don't know who to pick here. I want to say the Chiefs, but this is at Tampa, and Brady's gonna have receivers. I think I have to go with Tampa Bay at home.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Tampa Bay too.
It's just, I think. Do I say Tampa's a better football team? I think so. I think they're all around just better. Kansas City lost a lot in the offseason. I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay. If Julio and Mike Evans plays, even with just Mike Evans, I think Tampa Bay pulls it out. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucs.
Yeah, if Mike Evans was been suspended for more games, Tom Brady might have been giving Gronk a call.
He might have just retired midseason. Again. Monday Night Football. San Francisco gets another primetime game. After last week, I don't know how. Against the Rams.
I think the primetime games. I think the Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football are all predetermined. They're always through the season.
I think so, but
which is kind of stupid. But
yeah, even
like I think they set those for every week at the beginning of the year.
Man, San Fran has been. It's just last week they only scored 10 points and they lost because of a safety at the back of the end zone. So San Fran was not a good football team last week, and they're playing a struggling Rams team. The Rams have been shaky this year. They've struggled against the Cardinals. They won. Okay. Here's how the Rams have done. They lost by 21 to the Bills, which is it's the Bills. The Bills are the best team in football. They almost blew a 28-point lead to the Falcons. The Falcons. And they won an ugly game against the Cardinals. The Rams are looking shaky this year, and I picked 49ers last week, and I don't know. The 49ers swept the Rams last year. I'm gonna go with the 49ers. I'm gonna go with the 49ers. I think the 49ers get back on track and beat the struggling Rams,
I'm gonna take the Rams.
especially at home.
It's in LA.
No, it's in Santa Clara.
Yeah, give me the Rams.
I think the Rams are struggling, and I think the 49ers are really good. And last week was weird, but I think I'm still gonna go with the 49ers. They swept the Rams last year, and made the NFC Championship game, lost to the Rams in that game. But I think I'm gonna go with the Rams or the 49ers. The 49ers. I'm going with the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Very, very good slate of games this weekend. Both sports. We should be playoff baseball is in a week. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Pujols hit 700. Bro, I can't. I was asleep for that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you're a fake fan for that.
I know. I was asleep for that, bro. They played the Dodgers, and it was so late. I shouldn't have mattered. I should have stayed up. I didn't have Apple TV though.
You should listen here. I got the notification that he hit 699 in the third inning. So I went to my TV and I was like, "What's Apple TV cost?" So I clicked on it and it said, "Get 3 months free."
So you got the free trial just to watch Pujols hit 700?
I got the 3-month free trial just to watch Pujols hit his 700th home run. I got on it, and 5 minutes later, he hit the 700th home run.
Bro, I looked on MLB TV because I have their little free month for college students or whatever, and they don't have an option to where you can just watch the local broadcast or whatever. You have to watch it on Apple TV, which is stupid. But I tried to watch it on MLB TV, and they wouldn't let me. I had to watch it on Apple TV. And so I was like, I'm just going to go to bed because this game is so late.
And it was late.
But I'd probably...
Cardinals ended up winning 11-0 too.
Yeah, they killed them, and then they lost the next two. But it is the Dodgers, so it's fine. And I think we have a big series against the Brewers coming up. I think we have the division on lock, but I think we need to at least win the series against the Brewers this week.
It's looking like the Cardinals are up 6-2 right now in the bottom of the 7th. So if they win today, they'll clinch the Central.
Let's go, man. Playoff baseball in St. Louis for the first time in 3 years since we.
If they as long as the Brewers don't get hot in the next 2 innings.
We'll win it in the next 2 days or whatever that we play them. But for playoff baseball in St. Louis for the first time since we made the championship series in 2019. I'm excited for playoff baseball this year, especially this year, man. A lot of teams are good. The Mets might win 100 games. Bro, this year's going to be crazy. We'll definitely have, talks about, playoff baseball once it happens. We're probably going to have to release a couple, maybe even, I don't know about 3. But I don't know. We may be on a wider
week.
Maybe a wider schedule coming up. Maybe we have NFL and college football in one episode, and then another episode we have, maybe.
Yeah, I would assume NFL and college football will come out on Wednesday, and then playoff baseball and NBA or something like that. Maybe another day. I don't know.
We'll probably have to go to 2 episodes per week once basketball and once baseball starts. Baseball is starting, but once playoff baseball starts, we could start talking about that. Big things coming in store. We're working on a collab right now. We're not sure when that will come out, maybe in a couple weeks, but that'll be a fun episode. we're probably we're gonna have to expand to 2 episodes, so that'll be fun. And yeah, this was a good episode. We appreciate you guys listening. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if
Hold
you're
on,
watching.
hold on 1 second. I got to give a big shout out to Mr. Johnny and Miss Trina Jones for my hat they sent me. I got to put it on real quick. Mr. Johnny and Miss Trina Jones, thank you so much. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers! Tigers Fedora. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to y'all, fans of the podcast. Uh, we big appreciation, y'all. We appreciate you guys listening. We're up to I think 60 subscribers on YouTube, which is like, whatever. But it's like we've only done. This is the episode 11. Like we've only done 11 episodes of this. We appreciate you guys' support on it. A lot of support on the TikTok. We have like 80 followers on TikTok now. We're growing at a decent amount. We appreciate you. We appreciate all your guys' support.
The Facebook has like 289, I think.
This is ton of support for us right now. We've only been out here for 2 or 3 months now. Podcast is growing way faster than I thought it would. So we appreciate you guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you guys never miss when we drop an episode. We're trying to drop these football episodes every Wednesday before the Thursday night game and after the Monday game. So we're trying to drop them in between weeks. We're not sure when we go to 2 episodes and when we'll drop the second episode when we do go to 2 episodes, but we will let you guys know about that. Please subscribe to the YouTube, turn on notification bell, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Podcast, and anywhere you guys get your podcast, Amazon, wherever you guys get your podcast, we're there. We appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate all your support, and we'll see you guys next episode.